Hello, and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 310. Wow, big numbers, big numbers. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Too Fresh Crash. Crash, how are you?
Every time, I just never know who you're going to go to. And it's always, you got that pause right there. You just let it sit. You let it marinate for a little bit. And then you go to a random person. I don't think you know who you're going to until the moment comes.
So I feel like... You're not even introduced on the podcast yet.
Sorry.
Get the hell out of here.
Mad at you. He's mad at you.
We'll get there. But he's not around yet, okay? Jesus. God. We haven't even
Two-man podcast.
And Matt's here this week, guys.
Hello. All I was going to say is I feel like we just witnessed Fixer change his mind probably 2 or 3 times about which one of us he was coming to first.
That's exactly what happened. I was like, Matt, let's just go with one of them. It's okay. It's okay.
Too Fresh Crash, or do I want to start with the angry Fix? Which one am I going for?
We'll start with you, Crash. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, can't complain, but not gonna complain.
So should we talk about your arm, or are we just gonna not talk about it on the podcast?
I hurt my arm. My arm's hurting me. I gotta go to the doctor to get it x-rayed. That's about it. Nothing more to add. Until there's more to say, nothing more to add.
Fresh, I got bad news. You know the comment that I moved? I need that comment again.
You deleted it.
Yeah, I need that comment.
I saw it wasn't there, and I thought, oh, maybe Fix put it somewhere else.
Stick it underneath. Stick it underneath. Yeah, I will. You stick it underneath Patreon producer for me, all right? Stick it under there.
Got it.
Matt P Video, how are you? Welcome. I didn't even think you were on the podcast today.
Well, I wasn't originally, right? We went back and forth about times and days, and originally I said I couldn't do now, and then you were like, hey, Crash, are you ready? And I was like, I'm ready. You didn't ask me to be here, but
that's what happened. Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, wait, Matt, I thought Matt were... I was like, it's fine. It's fine. Well, I was meant to be going on... Okay, so full... I was meant to be going live longer than what I did today. I was on the front page of Twitch today, which was amazing. We had like over 1,500 people watching me play NBA 2K extremely poorly, and then I got hate raided 3 times. And on the third one, I was just like, I'm getting off. Can't be bothered. Yeah. Death threats and being called the M-word and everything else. I'm good, you know? I'm good. Do you know what I just thought in my head? Someone listening to the podcast right now just went, wait, he's black? No, I'm mixed race. Calm down, everyone. Calm down. I'm mixed race. I'm mixed race. But do you know the people who are like, wait, we don't know what you look like? Yeah. Those people should probably head over to YouTube. But if you didn't know, My Xbox and Me is our weekly Xbox podcast here on youtube.com/MyXboxandMe and on all podcast services. I kind of missed my rhythm there. I'm not going to lie. It messed me up a little bit. You can get the show early over on patreon.com/MCFixer. Make sure you go and subscribe to the YouTube channels. We are seeing you. It is happening. The movement has started. I'm not going to lie, Crash. You've done this. I'm so proud of you.
It wasn't just me.
Well, yeah, obviously. But I didn't want to take all the credit. You know, I wanted to give you something. Matt P grew the TikTok. No, it wasn't. Matt doesn't. What does he do around here?
I was gonna say I got nothing to do with this.
I just want to give you credit, you know, because it bothers Fix.
It is lovely to see new people in the comments all the time. Yeah, like I think we had one the other day that was exactly that. Like normally I just listened to the podcast, came to the YouTube for the first time, dropped comments. Yeah. It's lovely to see.
It's literally
it brightens my day
right now. For like the past 3-4 weeks, it's been amazing. It's been fantastic.
It brightens my day. Every single time I see it, it brightens my day. It's like, oh, it's the thing we speak about all the time, which is what at least I've spoken about on this podcast for years at this point, which is I know the numbers. I know people are listening. I wouldn't have done it for this long if there was no one listening. And I see how many of you listen. And like, if a fraction of you go over to the YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button, that'd be great. But just getting to know you guys a little bit more and building that relationship up a little bit more is what really matters to me. And I get it. Some people listen to this like, bro, I don't care about you. I don't care about Crash. I don't care about Matt. I listen to you guys talk Xbox once a week on my drive to work. That's all you are to me, all right? This doesn't go any further than that. But to those who do want to build a relationship and be a part of something, I love you. And keep subscribing and keep commenting on the YouTube channel because it really does help. up. Big shout out to, wait a minute. Matt, how you doing? You good, yeah? I don't care how you are. This is my Xbox and me. This is my Xbox and me.
I see.
Yeah.
This is my Xbox and me. And now we've just told people to come over to the YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to see you dressed in a My PlayStation and Me t-shirt. What is this rubbish?
That's
well, it's a PS I Love You t-shirt. I don't think you've made My PlayStation Me t-shirts yet.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah,
I could defend Matt right now.
Ooh, here we go.
No, you couldn't.
Fix, you've wearing PlayStation t-shirts on this podcast before.
Crash, you are correct. I have worn PlayStation t-shirts before, but I wore a jumper over the top of it.
You've worn PlayStation jumpers on the podcast. So
Nope. Nope.
They've been visible before.
Nope. It's never happened. It's never happened.
If you say so.
To defend myself.
It's never happened.
No defense.
There's a couple of things going on here.
Okay, fine. Hit me.
Firstly, PlayStation Showcase last night. We're going to chat about it a little bit in kind of the context of Xbox as we go forward in the show. And so I felt like it was relevant enough. Secondly, I've heard on the grapevine, on the socials, that there's a new podcast starting up called My PlayStation and Me. Some cool people involved. And, I'm always get called a Sony pony on this show. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll audition for that show. I'll ditch my Xbox and Me.
That show
head over with that new cool crew over there.
That show is so. You just said, "Oh, some cool people." Those people are so cool. We don't even know who they are yet. That's how cool they are.
Works when you're cool, right? Nobody really knows you. You're just there.
That's how cool you are. Yeah, the sister show to this show, My PlayStation and Me, is happening. It is going to happen. I'm confirming it here on this podcast. It is going to happen. It is going to be once a week. It's going to happen. And you'll understand why later on in the show when we actually get to all that. But I wanted to read a little comment from a special person who left us a comment on YouTube last week, right? And it read like this. Hi, guys. New subscriber. Here, even though listening to the podcast for a while with my partner, but I love your podcast. And I would love a little hello or shout out to Lemon Emma, as my fella said it would never happen. And it would be great to prove him wrong. Ha ha ha. Emma, shout out to you. And shout out to your husband because you said it wouldn't happen. You didn't think I was going to say it? How dare you? Chris was ready to say it. Chris was going to say it. And he's we all know Chris is a little bit, it takes his time to get to everything. He was like, yo, we got this comment. I'm like, yo, Chris, don't worry. I'm going to take it. He's like, no, bro, we got to get it. I'm like, okay, Chris, calm down, Chris, calm down.
That's the only reason the podcast happened today. I just wanted to read the comment. That's the only reason.
It's done. We've done short episodes in this, so perfect. But shout out to Lemon Emma and your lovely husband or partner, I should say. Apologies. Enjoy the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for coming over to the YouTube channel. Thank you for dropping the comment. We do appreciate you. And yeah, man, how dare you say that this won't happen? How dare you, fella? How dare you?
You little faith.
Let's get into the topic of the show this week. A little bit of a spicy one to talk about because I think a lot's happened this week, I guess, and especially yesterday with PlayStation dominating the news. And my question that I want to pose to everyone is, should Xbox be worried about PlayStation Showcase? Now, for those who don't know, maybe you're just an Xbox listener, player, and you don't give a crap about PlayStation. And I understand that. And that's okay. You haven't got to be mean about it, though. That's the most important thing. But yesterday, PlayStation had their version of E3, pretty much. That's what it was. It was their E3 showcase. I went in with absolutely zero expectations for it. Because, number one, I don't like to expect too much from these anymore. We've had a lot of duds this year and last year, if we're being totally honest. So I went in with very, very, very low expectations, and I have to say, I was absolutely blown away by the showcase. It was paced amazingly. The content that was in the show was amazing. Some of that content we'll be talking about relatively soonish because it does relate to Xbox. Don't think I'm just sitting here blowing smoke up PlayStation's butt because that's not what's happening. But it just left a question for me of like, after watching that showcase, should Xbox be worried? Crash?
I don't think so, because I think what Xbox is trying to do, we've talked about it, is like really different from Sony. Yeah. Like the big thing is Game Pass, it is xCloud, and all those things are still there, and they're still great values, especially for somebody who might need to be a little bit more worrisome with where they put their money or they can't afford all that stuff. And I think even the strong showing from Sony here doesn't necessarily affect Microsoft in that regard.
Matt?
Oh, you caught me off guard. I just muted my mic so I could tap away on my keyboard. Apologies.
No, you're fine.
I think... yeah, a little bit. Well, look, I think Xbox need to pull their...
The PlayStation fanboy thinks that. I'm joking.
Nice shirt.
Look, I love Xbox. I love what Xbox are trying to do. I don't think they always nail the messaging behind what they're trying to do. I don't think the mainstream video game player understands necessarily what they're still trying to do. And I think it's so clear what PlayStation are trying to do. You know, Marvel games out the bloody wazoo. They are hitting the mainstream hard with what those group of players want. And I think you're right. From a production standpoint, it was maybe as close to flawless as we can get as far as pacing and that kind of thing goes.
The big thing for me was it wasn't just the pacing, it wasn't just the production, it was the information that was presented as well that was key 100%. To me. So for those who don't know how the show went, it pretty much started off as an advertisement for PlayStation, which is a PlayStation show. Why wouldn't it? And then they just went from trailer to trailer to trailer to trailer. Jim Ryan spoke a little bit, Herman Hulse spoke a little bit, and then after the show, they did like a developer interview, but it's more edited down than that, and hitting the key points of the games they wanted to tell you more information about. And that is how you do a show. I don't care what anybody says. You give the people the information that they need in terms of the hype. Then you dive in deeper later. And that, to me, honestly, I tweeted it out, and I think I spelled some things wrong because that's what I do here. But it was like, this was the best show by a mile. Throughout the year. By a mile. It wasn't even close. Yeah. And I'm not saying all of the content that was in the show was up for me. That's not what I'm saying. But from a production point of view, I think it was amazing.
Yeah, I think it was all like presented super well, and we've talked about Microsoft so many times with their shows and how, especially the last thing they did, there were these really long interview segments with developers and whatnot. And it's like, if you do what Sony did and you still have interview segments afterwards and you just condense it to the information that needs to know, that's cool. And then you could always do something on top of that at a later date with sort of the, I'm going to say bloating of information, even though I don't think those are necessarily bloating of information. Yeah. But it's a lot of information that the average consumer doesn't necessarily care about. I think that makes it a more digestible thing and makes the conference more enjoyable as well.
I forgot to start on the Zencaster. Don't worry, we've got the backup. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's just it's an interesting. I think it's an interesting question. Obviously, for those who don't know, PlayStation announced a Marvel exclusive game, which is now Wolverine. It's been worked on by Insomniac, and I call it stupidness, but I trust Insomniac so much. Like 100%. they are one of my favorite studios probably ever at this point right now. As things stands, they made the best Xbox One exclusive, being Sunset Overdrive. They made the best PlayStation exclusives, in my opinion, which is Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Like I've said, I was very emotional around Miles as well. So I'm just sat here going, wow, they bought that studio for $200 million.
Bargain.
How crazy. But to see them get an exclusive... to get another, that's probably the key thing here, another exclusive Marvel game, and deliver, we hope they're going to deliver exactly what we want. And just from the trailer alone, it kind of seems like I'm not the comic book guy. I'm not the guy that understands all of the references, but the way people are nerding out, like the eye patch and this and that and that and that, and I'm like, oh damn, like this is, for me it was hype. So for other people to get even more out of it, that's amazing. And not only that, they announced Spider-Man 2, which also has Venom. Again, we understand that from an exploits point of view, we wasn't going to get that, but it's when you see things like Wolverine, you're like, oh, yeah. Even me, I'm sitting there. I'm very lucky, very fortunate, very blessed. I have a PS5 and I have an Xbox. I have a PC, I have a Switch. I'm not humble bragging. It's just a case of like, I understand how privileged I am to be in I have the circumstances I have. Yeah. So I'm not going to miss out on any of these great experiences. But if you are somebody who's listening and going, well, I invested on the Xbox and that's what I'm playing. I don't care about PlayStation. I don't care about buying another £500 plastic box. There's a part of me that's like, wow, it has finally gotten to a point for me where even if I didn't work in the industry, I'd probably own everything anyway, but it's gotten to a point where both consoles have must-play exclusives, and we haven't had that for a really long time. Like, the last time we had that was early on in the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 life cycle. I think there was a few obviously throughout the years, but not the way we are right now. When I look at what Sony's doing, God of War, Spider-Man, Wolverine, they've got a bunch of other titles that don't interest me, but like Gran Turismo and stuff like that, right? And then you look at Xbox and we're like Fable, Halo, Forza, Dustfall, a bunch of just so much. There's so much out there where I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. Really interesting.
Honestly, like looking at the lineup, like from both sides, it just shows how much Xbox was really missed during the Xbox One generation, where they really weren't putting out exclusives, and when they did, they weren't received well, and then we weren't getting sequels.
Yep.
So it just sort of left this dry spot on this whole side of gaming that really was unfortunate. And now you see here, I feel like the next 2 years are going to be amazing for games, and I'm sure stuff will get delayed and all that stuff, but even the amount of stuff that we will get should make for a fantastic, at least next year and year after that.
It's legitimately got to a point now where I'm hoping stuff gets delayed out of that first quarter of next year, because it's getting
so
absolutely absurd. With all the delays we've seen and stuff, the next 2 years are going to be absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Also, throughout this showcase, there were some games that were shown that do matter to Xbox players, so we will go through them. Some of these are timed exclusives, and we will try our best to mention the ones that are and their length. So we'll start off with what I think is probably the biggest one for Xbox fans. Anyone who was on the OG Xbox will understand this as a big one. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is getting remade for PS5 and PC. As what we know right now, it is we know it's a timed exclusive. And the only reason we kind of know that is just the wording in which things have been said. Xbox have come out and said the PlayStation, the game will be a console exclusive on PlayStation 5 at launch, which reads to us that it will be a timed exclusive. Do we know how long? No. Do we think it's probably a year? Yes. Sony's track record kind of shows us they don't really do anything less than a year, even when it comes to like content in Destiny and things like that. Like they lock it down for as long as they can. I'm not a Star Wars guy, but I obviously know this is a game that is near and dear to people's hearts. It even had me go, and maybe I'll check that out. Like, okay. Yeah. How are you guys feeling, Crash? We'll start with you. Like, how are you feeling about this?
I'm excited that it got announced. When this got shown and it was an exclusive, part of me was like, oh, that kind of sucks for Xbox.
Yeah.
And that goes with a lot of these things. And it's not, I understand the nature of why it's an exclusive and all this stuff. It's not that like I'm angry at Sony and all that stuff, but it was a little bit of like, ooh, that really, really does suck, especially like you said, it was originally an Xbox exclusive way back when.
Yeah.
But I'm glad at least it's being made. People know that it's coming out at some point. And hopefully it's not too long of a wait for it to come to Xbox.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I'm just like, it's one of those feel good moments for me where I'm like, oh, it is cool that it's being done. Like, again, we had this conversation the other day about Dead Space, right? Like, other people are getting to have the moments that I got to have with Resident Evil 2, where it's like, this is my favorite game of all time, and oh my god, it's not getting remastered, it's being remade, ground up, it's going to be everything that I want. And nine times out of 10, from what I've got to experience, Resident Evil 3, unfortunately, not quite what I wanted. It can work out into being one of the best nostalgia trips you can ever go on. So it's especially with dated games like this, where you have the room to like modernize it and change some things up to make it more modern, and it feels like a fresh experience even to people who have played it before, or to the point where it's like, this is how I envisioned it when I played it, even though it wasn't anything like this, but this is how it sort of played out in my head, which is really dope. Matt, what about you? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, no, you're good. I think this has the there's been such a long time since the original. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I've never played it. But it's one of those games that transcends Star Wars and gaming. Like, everybody knows about Knights of the Old Republic. People have been talking about it for a decade, wanting a remake or a remaster. And we're so far away from that now that there are going to be so many people in my situation who are big Star Wars fans, but were too young when it came out, or weren't a gamer when it came out, and now everybody's a gamer. Like, there are going to be so many new people jumping into this game, and excited to see what comes of it. And so, huge announcement for me. I do wonder, like you say, how long is that exclusivity going to be? Typically, yes, we do see 12 months with Sony. I wonder how different that is when it's a Star Wars game, and it's a bit of a bigger thing. Maybe it's less, maybe it's more. Who knows, right? We don't know. But it'll be super interesting to see what happens with it. I want to see some gameplay. I want to get a release window, because I think it's probably really, 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 really far away.
Yeah, but Sony are fantastic at that, right? Yeah. So, like, they are. Sure. I don't know if I agree with it or not, but Sony are really good at putting. Hey, we've got this game. It's coming, and you will see it in the next 4 E3s.
Hey, sometimes it backfires. Star Wars trailers,
you'll see.
1313 was.
I just don't see
officially announced, or was that leaked?
Yeah, it did get. I think it officially got announced. So. I think. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. We don't really see big delays like that anymore. Like, what's the last one I can think of is like Scalebound.
I was going to say, you're probably right. The Last Guardian. Was just went forever and ever and ever and ever.
But then that came out.
That came out eventually,
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm talking about games that get shown and then never don't even come out. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Skull and Bones.
That's coming, mate. That's coming.
Yo, you just won the podcast, Crash, because that's the best joke you're going to tell today. I can guarantee that. Moving on, though, for other stuff that was shown during this showcase that matters to us, Tiny Tina, the spin-off for Borderlands, got its official release date, which is coming in March 25th to be precise. The trailer looks amazing, I have to say. Me and Kresh played through the DLC together, and I think we agree on this, but I know from my point of view, it's one of the best DLCs I ever played in a game, period. So to be actually getting a whole game is twofold. Number one, it's super exciting because it could be really, really good. It could be really, really funny. Tiny Tina's obviously a character from the Borderlands world that is amazing, but am I going to get sick of it if it's in a whole game? Is the thing that worries me. She's great in small doses. Is she going to be great throughout the entirety of the game? I think if they use her as like a narrator, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. When I saw the trailer, I wound up walking away from it a lot less excited than when it first got announced.
Why?
Only because this is my fault. Let me just start this off with it's 100% my fault. This just looks like a lot more Borderlands, and I don't know why. To myself, this is 100% on me. I expected something. Yeah,
because they came out and said, "Don't just expect more Borderlands."
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't matter how. Yeah. It doesn't matter what they're going to do to change this. There's going to be changes, right? But I understand why you may have walked away from it going, that looked good, but it's more Borderlands. And even I'm there, and I'm saying that it looked good. Yeah. But it's more Borderlands. Yeah, it's got a twist. It's got a spin on it. It's obviously D&D and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's 4 friends jumping together, shooting things, and taking down bosses, shooting things, stabbing things, whatever you wanna do. It is more Borderlands.
And the Tiny Tina DLC was like, it literally is one of my favorite DLCs, and it's such a good experience that like I still have hope that this game will be good and it'll be fun enough for me to play through it and enjoy it, especially in co-op. But there's that little bit there. But it looked cool. It looked, and I don't know if it was just the trailer. It looked a lot more ability focused than Borderlands usually is.
Yep.
And I don't know if they were just doing that like sort of a sizzle reel, because it was 100% a sizzle reel. Yeah. So I don't know if it was just for the sake of that or if it really will end up being like that in gameplay.
Oh, it's very much we've got this and we've got this and we've got this and we've got this and that is this and look at the loot and this and look at this character. It was very much one of those type of trailers. Matt, what did you think of it?
I had the opposite reaction to Crash, where I had no interest in this game before, and now I'm much more excited for it. Like, I've never been a big Borderlands guy. I've never felt like the gunplay in Borderlands, like, I enjoyed all that much. And to be honest, I've probably never given a Borderlands game sort of enough time to get in. But yeah, like, the D&D twist of this has me in. Like, this weird, like, overworld giant bobblehead thing they have going on looked really interesting and neat. The story seems fun. Like lockdown has become like I've really got into D&D shows during lockdown, and so that's kind of been my like new little passion. And so to mix that in with a shooter that's really well received by fans, I'm all for. So yeah, like I came away from this more excited than I was before.
It's probably my most anticipated game for next year now.
Wow.
It's definitely up there.
What is that?
What?
There's so much coming out in the first quarter.
I understand that, but I love Borderlands.
Okay.
Like it's one of those, you got to remember, Borderlands for me is the second game me and Haley ever played together. So it's one of those experiences that I get to play with her, and it's not competitive, and it's not stress, and it's not so to be able to have that experience. And now Borderlands 3 I had a different experience with, because I was like, they're gonna change the game. They're gonna add raids. They're gonna change the loot. And now I've just come to the acceptance of Borderlands is what Borderlands is. They ain't changing it. It works. It's funny. It's enjoyable. It's what it is. We're not getting a Borderlands BR. We're not getting Borderlands with raid type content. That's not what it is. So now I've come to terms with that. I can just sit down and experience this. Yeah, it's probably up there as one of my most anticipated games for next year. Yeah, next year is ridiculous. Ridiculous. But it's definitely up there. But then again, I can tell you right now, FIFA's probably up there for me right now. FIFA 22 is not even that yet, so 23, I'm like, give it to me. So yeah.
X hates Elden Ring is what I heard there.
I know. Unbelievable.
I couldn't give a crap about Elden Ring, if I'm being honest with you guys.
God. I can't wait.
It's just not my type of game. Like, I'll play it. It's like everything. I play everything. I try and play everything.
Yeah.
But realistically, it's not going to get me. No way is it going to get me.
No, I don't.
No, I'd be shocked. But stranger things have happened, Crash. But I didn't enjoy Sekiro. That was a challenge by Tony. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't pick that game. I understand the game's amazing. I think it's a fantastic game and how it's built, but I didn't enjoy it in the way of like, there's a perfect game we're going to talk about in what's been in our box, where I was like, I shouldn't like this, and I absolutely love it. So we'll get to that later. Okay. Next up was one that I'm excited for as well. Rainbow Six Extinction. Again, obviously coming Extraction, not Extinction. Apologies. It looked good. It looked good. Extinction mode was the mode that this came from, pretty much. It looked good. I didn't really need to see more, and the trailer didn't really add any more than what we've seen already at Ubisoft's conference.
Exactly.
But coming early January, and yeah, I'm looking forward to getting together with some friends and going through it. Three friends who me and Crash built our relationship of a Rainbow, which is crazy. So for us, it's like, or at least for me, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to play this. I'm ready to jump in. Again, that similar experience, which is a little bit more, it's more hardcore than obviously a Borderlands, but it's more the things outside of the game that I'm more interested with this game. Like in terms of like, what are you gonna do to keep me coming back? What's the progression? What's the challenges? What's the like? That is gonna be real interesting. Like, is it gonna be take down a whole level with a pistol or whatever? Just yeah, it should be a good time. It should be a good time. What did you think of this trailer, Crash?
I thought it was solid. I enjoyed it, but I agree. I don't think I needed to see this. I was kind of honestly a little bit surprised to see this. I was like, oh, I forgot this game's coming out. I forgot that that they could still show this game. I'm not disappointed that I saw it or anything like that. It's just I was already excited for it. I don't think this tips the balance any other way, either better or worse.
Matt?
Yeah, it's very similar. Didn't need any more of it. But glad it's here and still looks good and stuff like that. And it'll be interesting to see how it does, because we're gonna have sort of direct comparisons to like Black 4 Blood and other bits and bobs from then on. I know they're different games, but like similar sort of co-op zombie shooting feel. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that ignites some more. What's the word I'm looking for? Passion for that genre.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Blood has already been consumed.
People that want to look for those type of games. I think the problem with Rainbow is it's still the gameplay is still a tactic based Rainbow shooter, and that's exactly. Like I think that's a huge turn off to a lot of people that would be playing Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood is jump in, shoot everything. Rainbow is going to be just peek this corner and let's use this device under the door and yeah.
Although I think Back 4 Blood attempted to like make it more tactical with the crows and stuff like that. But once you run through a level, it's like there'll be crows somewhere around here, so just look for where the crows are. Yeah. So the randomization kind of helps with that, but doesn't really fix the situation.
A game that I didn't want to... Well, a game that I wanted to see more, but I knew was going to upset me, if I'm being totally honest, was Ghostwire Tokyo. Obviously, this is owned by Xbox, made by Tango Works, which is owned by Xbox. It was shown. I am a humongous Tango fan in terms of Evil Within 1, Evil Within 2. You all know I love survival horror games. That is probably my favorite genre of game at this point. And Ghostwire Tokyo does nothing for me. And this is such a shame, because the gameplay, watching the gameplay, I knew when they first shown the game, I was like, I know this is going to be good. People are going to play this and they're going to love this. But I know for a fact it's not for me. I know for a fact, instantly, off that first teaser trailer we saw. And we've been waiting and waiting and waiting to see more and more and more. We finally got to see more. And I was just like, damn. It's all of my worst fears put together, where I was like, I'll probably still end up playing it because I like Tango so much that I want to give this at least a try before I just judge it off of what I've seen. But the story looks interesting, it looks scary, it looks spooky, very atmospheric. But I don't mean this as bad as it's going to sound, but I just don't think the gameplay looks that interesting or fun.
Specifically, what like the first person or combat?
I don't
or what?
Him, Matt.
I don't like the from what I can tell the game is currently first person number one. That I love third person action games in these survival horror games, which people always find super weird. People are like, but you get more what's the word I'm looking for? Immerse, thank you. Adverse, Jesus Christ. Immersed in it and blah blah, and you're not wrong. It's just I grew up playing Resident Evil in third person, so I there's other games out there like this, but it's just I didn't like that. I don't like the I guess the attacks, the whatever it, we don't know what it is right this precise second, but the abilities or whatever it is, it just doesn't look interesting to me to play.
Interesting. I think I'm in the total opposite side of you.
Me too, Crash. Me too.
I'm not a fan of the whole horror games, all that stuff. Not really a big fan. We've talked about it. I like Resident Evil Remake 2. That's about it. Never Tango hasn't really done much for me, but every time I see this game, like I'm just like, I want this more. Why is this game getting delayed? I also, just real quick, I want to say Xbox had a fantastic showing here. Absolutely fantastic. I'm really, really excited for this. I like the gameplay. I like the combat. It looks interesting and different. I think the first person element, I think is interesting enough. It gives me sort of BioShock-esque vibes, which I like BioShock quite a bit.
Couldn't give a crap about BioShock.
So yeah, not surprised. Actually, a little surprising. I played
BioShock 1. I played BioShock 1. I didn't never beat it, but I remember playing it. I did a show called Critically Acclaimed Games, where I'd go back and play games that are critically acclaimed. I remember
this, yes.
And I played it for about 5 hours.
You want to know what it is?
And I couldn't. I was just like,
you know what it is? You played it so late after the game came out, because at that point, Infinite and everything was out. Because like I think if you played that game when it came out, it is the first one especially is very horror-esque. That I think you would have really actually enjoyed it when it came out. But a game gets hyped up as it's out and all that stuff, and then you finally play and it's like, ooh, this isn't what I expected it to be.
Yeah. Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I was just gonna echo everything Crash said. I'm all for it. It looks great. Like almost give me Kojima vibes, like a little bit Death Stranding-y. Like what is going on in this world? I'm all for it. Like from a story point of view.
No,
I don't think so.
Okay.
Wait, you want to know why I disagree with you? Because they haven't actually like tried telling a story in these trailers. These trailers are simply like, here's how it's gonna look, here's the tone for it. Kojima specifically like, here's the story and here's all this stuff.
Oh, I felt like this one had like quite a bit of weird, nonsensical, but story elements in there. I don't
think so.
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
I could just be wrong, and I just maybe I was just so enamored with like seeing this game again that I wasn't looking for like, that could be a story, but that could be them leading to something. Where with Kojima, whatever Kojima puts out, it's like you have to like scan through everything he does because he's trying to tell you something.
I understand. Sure. The story looked like, that's what I'm saying. The story looks interesting, but I'm just not Kojima. No.
Okay. I just from like a really abstract,
cool,
visually
not
cool,
for me.
Like storytelling point of view is what I was going for.
Got it. That's fair.
But yes, everything about this game I'm all for. I'm very much looking forward to it. I agree that the like it looks quite combat heavy, I guess, from that trailer that we saw. And so that is an odd turn. Like I kind of assumed this would be more like running away from things, but it feels very much like, oh no, you're in an arena with these dudes and you're gonna do some weird
I like it.
hand kung fu to kill them with magic or something. Who knows? But yeah, I'm it looks weirdly cool and I'm all about it. I hope it's short. I have a feeling it won't be.
How long are Tango games generally, Fix?
15, 20 hours?
Yeah, that's too long.
Is that short for you? That's too long. Okay.
Half it.
That's never happened. It's a AAA game.
Yeah.
No, you'd be okay with it. The rest of the world would not be okay.
It could be like the best 8 hours ever, and somebody would play and be like, "It's only 8 hours. It was a fantastic 8 hours, but it's only 8 hours. Not worth the AAA pricing on it."
Sure. I mean, look, my game of the year this year, still, I think right now, maybe I could be persuaded elsewhere, but is Resident Evil 8. And that's sort of on that sort of length size, and so
fix his face. He's insulted.
I'm not. Do you know what? I'm not even insulted. I just forgot that game came out this year. I generally beat that game and went, well, that was that. Okay, and like never played it again. Like literally played it. Crash. I played a Resident Evil. A Resident Evil game came out this year. I played it once.
You want to know what it reminds me of? Resident Evil 7.
So, okay, I like you, Chris, because you're going to say, okay, so I'm guessing what you're saying is in 6 years' time, I'm going to go back and be like, this is good.
Point. Yeah. Because I think, especially after Resident Evil 2 remake, and then
Resident Evil 7 is better than Resident Evil 8.
No. Incorrect statement.
By a mile.
I don't want to. I haven't played 8. I don't know, maybe. Who knows?
No, it is.
I don't know if I can trust Matt because Matt's too like the problem with you two is like Matt's too enamored with it.
Do you know
the opposite side?
Do you know what's going to be crazy? At the end of the year, we're going to have the My Xbox in Me Game of the Year top 10 list where we argue it out and come together for my Xbox is me's top 10, right? Number 1, Matt's going to be Resident Evil, more than likely, right? And I'm going to be the person. I'm going to be the person saying no.
Yeah.
How wild is that?
That's crazy. I remember when I had to be that person.
No. But yeah, nuts. Last couple of games that were shown, we had obviously Eidos Montreal's Guardians of the Galaxy game. I'm still not loving it. I'm
missed me with it.
Go on, Matt.
The more I see of the gameplay, the less with it I am. But I'm like such a biased, nerdy Marvel fanboy that I'm very excited for this game. But yes, the more I see of the gameplay, the more I think, does this look fun? I don't know. The story looks cool, I guess, and the character choices and those kind of things. But
are the character choices cool?
No.
Or are the character choices basic?
What do you mean? What do you mean by character choices? Sorry, I meant like branching stories and like.
Oh, got it. Okay, I thought you meant like the characters they picked for you to play as.
Oh no.
Got it. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't explain myself very well.
No, you're good.
No, that's not your fault. That's my fault.
I'm burnt out on Marvel right now. I don't know what that was about, but it's fine. I'm burnt out on Marvel. I'm burnt out on Marvel as it is. Like, I haven't finished Loki. We've still got a bunch of What If to watch, just backed up on the TV.
I'm just Shang-Chi?
I haven't seen Shang-Chi.
Oh, dude.
Like,
so good.
Like, I'll probably go this weekend. I'll probably go this weekend because I need a break anyway. But there's just a part of me that's just a bit like, I want to play it because I want to play it because it's another Marvel game, and like I feel like Avengers like really scarred me. Marvel's Avengers like really scarred. Where like Marvel Avengers is not even terrible. It's not a terrible game. Like the opening of Marvel's Avengers alone makes it not a terrible game because it's one of the best openings.
The story is good.
But the problem is like the story isn't even half the game.
100%.
That's true.
That's true. I agree with you. I think if you get the game for like $20 or something like that, I think it's a great purchase. $30, I think it's a great purchase. But if you bought it for $60 when the game came out, like the story's what, eight-ish hours if I'm not mistaken.
Well, if you got a review code for it,
you should judge it as if you bought it for $60.
That's what I do. Well done. You got that right. That was a test. I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
well done. Yeah. Well done. But yeah, it looked, even what they showed, it looked more like, hey, we're the Guardians, and hey, we're gonna be funny and try and be funny, and hey, Rocket, you're climbing a cube, and it was just like, I've been there, I've done that. Let me rephrase that. I went from, who the fuck are the Guardians of the Galaxy? I don't know who these people are. I don't give a crap. To, oh my god, I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. To, man, Guardians are everywhere. Like, it literally has turned into that for me. Where, like, they were the new kids on the block and nobody knew who they were and they boomed. And then it's just come to a point where I'm like, can we find somebody else? Like, is there not the Young Avengers? Can we not get them? Or, like, can we not something different? That would be cool.
They also could have done like different Guardians of the Galaxy lineups, like with different characters and just shaking it up a little bit. Because I feel like it's very much so the movies. And for me, it's like I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the design choices they went with the characters. I don't like the look too much. That there's just so much. Even when I look at the gameplay, for me, a lot of it's just like sort of like I don't care for what you're doing with these characters because I've seen these characters so many times lately, and some of them have been really good iterations of them, some of them not as good, but I've seen it so many times that there's so many comparisons I can draw to it that if you don't knock it out of the park, there is sort of that hesitation for me to even sort of like delve into it and be excited for it.
Yeah, I think we are in a bit of a Marvel bubble since Endgame. Its popularity is just unfathomable, and they're just trying to make money anywhere and everywhere they can. And I do wonder how much like Disney look at the pandemic and go, fuck, that ruined our movies. Like, we were in trouble there for a minute. How do we diversify out these properties that we have? Oh, let's develop 12 games. like let's just give everybody a Marvel game.
I think that's just them catching up, though. I feel like that's just. I don't think it's so much to do with not making money. I think it's just Marvel realizing how much Marvel for a long time they sold Spider-Man. Yeah. They were in. Yeah. They were going bankrupt. They were in deep trouble. So I think it's more just a case of them being in a place now where it's like, oh yeah, we do have some of the best IP in the world. So yeah, you know, 100%. let's use it. Let's use it. Wow, what's the biggest entertainment products out there in the world? Video games. Huh? How many of those do we have? 0. All right. Whoever wants one can make one as long as it's good quality. And this, I do believe, will be at the very least good.
Yes. I agree.
So,
and maybe that's all it needs to be. But I do think you're right. I think we are in a bit of a Marvel bubble, and I think it will start to pop. And I think, as upsetting as that is,
no way,
it can't last forever.
No way.
You know, in the past like 4 or 5 years, there's been like 3 or 4 mobile games, all within like the same premise of like it's a gacha game where like you're rolling for characters, all this stuff. Like they release so many of those, and then on top of that, you have Spider-Man doing fantastic on the more like AAA side, and they're doing the Wolverine over there. That I think they will hit this sort of middle market of like cheaper games to produce, but still games that people want.
Boring question. I know this was something that the My Xbox and me was writing because they're boring. They come out with this. If you had to stay on the island with some of the questions, Matt. Some of the questions.
They'll pop up every few months, and it's like literally the same exact question, just like
in the same. It's like come on. My question: if we could get one exclusive Marvel game, what would it be? I know.
I'd want Daredevil.
Daredevil is such.
Who makes it? Who makes it?
That's the problem. Yeah, I think that's the problem in general. Is who do you get to make what game?
It doesn't have to be a first party. It could be second party, but still exclusive.
Rocksteady.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever make that. They made Batman. I'm sure they want to like. You see them doing Suicide Squad. They're like they want to do something else.
I'm worried about Suicide Squad though. I'm worried about that game.
We haven't seen gameplay.
We haven't seen it.
Just from a concept point, like. I don't know.
I trust Rocksteady.
I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. And you're right. I should trust Rocksteady.
I should
trust Rocksteady. But
I know what it is. It's the fact that it's like a game with service, and it's very Avengers-esque.
You know what it is? You know what it is? I think Gotham Knights to me looks shit. And I'm just tarring them with the same brush.
Can we?
Fucking hell! Hot takes are coming. Wait, just wait. Just give.
Wait, no. Wait. You said. So when Guardians of the Galaxy was first shown, you enjoyed it, right?
Yeah.
Gotham Knights looks shit.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not even gonna. I'm not.
Gotham Knights. Here's what tipped me off about Gotham Knights. Okay. Enemies have levels above their head and they have numbers pinging off of them.
Yes.
I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want to play that Batman game with that.
Do you know what I don't want? I don't want you to have PlayStation posters behind you when you come on My Xbox and Me. I don't want you to come on in a PS I Love You shirt for My Xbox and Me, but you do it anyway.
Hey. Sometimes you don't get everything you want in life. Okay?
That's facts.
I'm getting Suicide Squad. You're getting me.
Do you know what? I think it's a fair trade. I'll take it. I like you. You can stick around. Yeah, let's move on. Bethesda. Last game that was shown here that matters to us. Oh no, there's one more after this. I apologize. Deathloop was shown. It's another one of those games. I think this was actually probably my favorite showing of Deathloop as someone that I've been very lukewarm on the game. I'm not like, oh my god, I can't wait for it. I'm not also like, oh, I don't want to play this game either. Like I'm somewhere in the middle of both of those. It's just coming out at a really bad time for me personally in terms of like there are other games out right now that I would rather be playing. So this one may end up sitting on the back burner until I get a moment to actually get to play it. Again, it being well, yeah.
It'll come to Xbox before then.
It being a PlayStation exclusive doesn't help.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, but yeah, I was way more hot on this trailer than I have been any of the others.
Yeah, I could see that. I enjoyed this trailer. Personally, I've enjoyed like the first showing was the only one where I was kind of iffy of because it looked very Dishonored-esque, and I in the minority wasn't a huge fan of Dishonored 2. So I was kind of worried about it, but the more I see the game, the more fun it looks. I like the setting. I really like the concept of it, and I feel like every time they show it, they dive a little bit deeper into that concept and giving you more of a reason to care about this game in particular. I'm very excited for it. Again, Microsoft had a fantastic showing here. Deathloop looks. I'm really looking forward to this game.
Yeah, are you playing on PlayStation or are you waiting for Xbox?
It depends what else is around then. If there's nothing else to really play around them, I'll probably pick it up.
It's one of those games where, yeah, I'm kind of interested in it, but at the same time, I could very easily see myself never playing this game. Yeah, like you say, like it's just got to catch me at that right time where I'm sat there on a Sunday afternoon or something, and I think, oh yeah, I can pop into this for a bit, and maybe it'll hook me. I could imagine it hooking me, like Hitman's hooked me, and the idea of loops and stuff like that is interesting. Although I've been burned by 12 minutes recently, so maybe not. But it's not quite like that, is it? But there we go. Yeah, so I didn't need to see more of it, as I think everybody sort of feels about this game now. But it'll be interesting to see what people think of it.
Last but not least, a game very near and dear to my heart, a game that I love. I won't be going back playing it again, but Alan Wake is being remastered. It's $30, I believe, £25 on the store. It is coming to Xbox as well. If you've never played Alan Wake, it is well worth your time. It was the game that got me into Remedy as games, and then obviously Quantum Break after that for me. Loved it. Love Alan Wake. It is a story-driven game and tells a very interesting story that is worth playing, in my opinion. And if I had time, I'd pick this up and play it in a heartbeat. But I just know for a fact, I do not have time to go back. If it was a remake, obviously, I'd be all over it. But a remaster, I've lived this experience. I don't need it again right now. But yeah, it's such a good game. Such a good game.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump into it for exactly that, right? Control was my first Remedy game, and so, you know, there are sort of hints to the connection between those two games throughout Control and other bits and stuff going on, and Alan Wake's one of those games that just passed me by when it was originally out, and so, yeah, I'm super stoked to jump into it. I'm curious, how I know it's going to be very different to Control from a gameplay standpoint. Do you think it's going to feel pretty rough and dated? Because it's a pretty old game at this point.
No, not really. The mechanics are quite. No, I think it'll be fine. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's not a. I'm sure it will feel a little bit old because it was an old game. But I don't. Yeah, not the. Hey, that's my saying. All right, you don't get to say that. I say that. That's why I used it. But yeah, no, I think you'll be okay. It's definitely worth playing. If you've got the time and you've got the money, it is definitely worth playing.
I'm in.
Let's get into Fix This Sack, shall we? We've got some questions from you guys. You can email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com, or you can ask us on Twitter with the hashtag MXAM, or you can hit us up in the YouTube comments, youtube.com/myxboxandme, and lastly, on Discord. First question comes from Connor Smith and says, my question this week is, what was the first ever game you guys remember playing? Mine was playing Duck Hunt in a baby high chair before I can even walk. Thanks, Dad. And have been hooked ever since. Also, where is Crash from and how did you guys meet? Corey, the gaming butcher. So, we'll start off with our first games. Matt, what is the first game that comes to memory?
Yeah, so it's an interesting one, right? Because I'm sure maybe there is a game before this, but the first game that I remember playing, properly playing and understanding what's going on and getting through it is Mickey Mouse's Castle of Illusion on the Sega Mega Drive.
What a game. What a video game, my friend.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. Yeah, got that Sega Mega Drive is the first thing I remember playing. Maybe I played Sonic before then because I'm sure we got those two with the console or whatever. But that is certainly the one that sticks in my mind, and is the one that my sort of like sister and dad, who aren't big gamers anymore, will always text me about. You know, when they release a new Mickey Mouse mobile game, and they're like, "Oh, it's like Castle of Illusion." It's like, yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same. So yeah, that's what it is.
Crash?
Arrow the Acrobat.
Oh, what's
Way
that?
back when.
What?
It's like a platform. Every time I ever mention this, people don't know it. It's a platformer. You play a bat.
Oh, okay.
And you're in like a circus. You're going around. There's collectibles, all this stuff.
Wow.
I played it a long time ago. I think it was Sega Genesis. It was either Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo. We got a hand-me-down Sega Genesis, and that's one of the games we got with it.
Yeah.
And so I played it, and that's probably the earliest one I remember. It's between that and Joe and Mac.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's one of those.
Yeah.
Joe and Mac. Come on.
What's Joe and Mac? What's Joe and Mac?
Joe and Mac's a caveman.
Oh,
it's a game where
no,
you
I
play
think I do know that. I think I do know that one.
Yeah. So those are probably two of my oldest memories that I can say are my oldest, but like a lot of the games I played from back then mumble into like one time period. So I'm not 100% sure what the oldest one is.
Yeah, so mine's weird. So yeah, a little bit story time, I guess. Like, so there's a very specific photo of me as a baby, and there's a yellow, you remember the original yellow Game Boy, right? Yeah. Behind me. And so I know for a fact that my mum used to play that a lot, and I know, so that's been sort of implanted in my head of like my first memory. I don't believe that's my first memory. The first memories I have is actually at my nan's, which is weird because my mum's mum and my mum, they never got on. So it's like one of the very few memories I have at my nan's house before we didn't speak to her again. And it was me and her playing through Streets of Rage and Golden Axe. Obviously, Streets of Rage, everyone knows Streets of Rage is it's a big game in my family, in my life, because it's like the only video game really my dad would even play with me. Like, my family were very much like, no, I don't play games. Not really. I'm like, Mario Kart on the odd occasion, international track and field we play together. But like anything like other than that, it was like, no way. Like, I'm not playing games. I'm not a gamer sort of thing. But yeah, so Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, and Bejeweled on the Mega Drive. Those, like that, there's a cartridge with all three of them on it. And that cartridge, sticks out in my mind like nobody's business. So I kind of assume that's probably the fairest one to say is my earliest one that I actually remember. Like, I must have played the games before then because I knew the hell what I was doing, but that's the one I can still remember to this day. So yeah, there's that. And the next question on this, which was where is Chris from? New York.
New York.
And how did we meet? So
on Tinder.
That's not true. Tinder wasn't around. Tinder was around.
Those location parameters
was around for sure.
No, me and Crash met. Me and Crash didn't get on at first. Shocker.
But
yeah,
very true.
I used to stream. Well, I still stream, but I was streaming. I paid to play games with Alfredo Diaz, now of Achievement Hunter. He had a Patreon, which was like a certain tier, was like permanent member tier or whatever it was. And I was just starting my streaming career at the time. So I paid that, and then I was streaming at the same time Alfredo was. I was getting up at like 3 o'clock in the morning every single day to go and play games with Alfredo so I could build. The idea was I was going to try and build my own career, which, surprise, ended up happening. Very fortunate. But yeah, I ended up meeting some amazing people. There's Mackie, there's a Wild Jarmy, who you guys know now, in my Twitch chat, if you know him. Obviously, Kresh was one of the other people that we met, and we just all started playing games together and talking often. You were streaming a lot of the time as well.
Yeah. You know who we really have to thank for our relationship fix?
Mackie.
Yeah,
100%. 100%. Yeah.
I played a lot of games with Mackie, and you played a lot of games with Mackie. Yep. And at the time, I'm gonna be 100%.
We didn't like each other.
I wasn't a huge fan.
No, I know. Nobody was.
Yeah.
It's fine. Look, it takes years for me to grow on you. You're still not a huge fan.
Yeah, true. But then, you play games with someone, you crack jokes with someone. I got to know Fix more, and I got to know the difference between Fix the entertainer and Fix the person.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of Fix the person. The entertainer.
He's all right. No, okay. I think the thing you gotta remember, we were. Oh God, how old was you when I met you then?
I'm I was 21,
2021, which means I would have been 23, 24.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because it was
been a long time.
I did it. It's over 5 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely over 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I was 21 at the time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then me and Matt. So me and Matt.
See if Fixer gets this story right, shall we?
So Matt doesn't remember, I don't think, but Matt made the intro for My Xbox and Me.
I don't think I did.
You did.
Fix told me that you did.
You did. You made the intro. I'm pretty sure you made the intro for My Xbox
Did he
and Me
make
for
this
me.
intro or the old intro?
No, the old intro.
Definitely to make this intro.
Got it. Okay.
No, the old intro. And can you just hit me up at a note? I'm pretty sure you did. It was after I did the interview with Greg.
Yeah, so yes.
And you hit me up.
After you did the interview. No. After you did the interview with Greg, that's how I found about you, right? And found your channel and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was at uni doing animation.
You did. You made the intro.
I made an MC Fixer intro.
No, you didn't. You made a My Xbox and Me intro.
I did. It was the MC Fixer intro. It was spray painted MC Fixer in a little circle.
Yeah. No, you made that, but you also made the My Xbox and Me one.
Well, maybe I did, but I don't remember doing that
one. You did. I swear you did. You did.
So I did that for a little project in uni.
I don't think he did.
He did. He did. But yeah, so you did that, and then I remember you did that, and I remember us talking, blah, blah, blah. That happened, done. Didn't talk to each other again really after that. Just our normal Twitter stuff sort of thing. Yeah. And then I remember you saying, oh, I'll see you at the meetup at some point. Yes. And then I remember that we were at the meetup. I don't remember you at the meetup at all. Not even a smidge.
Spoke a couple of times. But you just didn't put it together that I was who I was.
Because your photo at the time looked so different to what it does. Like, you looking like this now compared to what you look like in that. You know what photo I'm talking about, Crash? The one in his big hockey, I think the hockey thing? Like, yeah. Is it not hockey?
Never played hockey in my life.
Was it rugby? What is it?
It was a football jersey, a soccer jersey.
Rugby.
Rugby. There you go. Rugby. Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to say we've settled this before. I think it was one of the earlier episodes we did. There was 3 of us. That Matt looks very different in his photos.
Yep.
That he does on camera speaking to him. So I could 100% see how you see his picture and then you see him in person. You're like 2 different people. On top of, Fix has talked about this numerous times where he's like, I've seen people that I know online by a username and all this stuff, and then I see them in real life and they give me just like what part of their name or just their first name, and he does not associate them together.
I get that.
Hi, I'm Matt. Who the fuck's Matt?
And to be fair, back then I was going by like Chewy online in a lot of places. That was my nickname in yeah. That was my nickname in uni, and so
yeah, exactly. Oh, well,
I didn't make it easy for people. I didn't make it easy for you.
Can I ask you a question?
To be fair though, as well, when we did meet at the Kind of Funny meetup thing, it was raining. No, absolutely not. It was raining.
Okay.
You were stood out in the rain, directing people into like the new venue where we were meeting.
Yeah.
Very overfamiliar for a complete stranger. I just came up to you, give you a hug, was like, hey, da-da-da. And now in hindsight, feel kind of weird about that because you didn't recognize me.
I don't care. I'll hug anyone. I'll hug all the best, kind of funny best friends. I was at the time I didn't give a fuck. People think I'm a really arsehole person. I'm really not. I'm actually not. You come on my podcast with a PlayStation t-shirt, you have to feel the wrath, all right? How dare you? But yeah, that's how we all met, and Crash and Matt have never met before. So
no, first time we talked was
on the podcast.
They were recorded, yeah.
That's how I do things. That's how I do things. I'm like, yeah, this is Matt. He's with us now.
You know,
he's still here. You know, he's still here.
Also, I just need to point this out real quick. Fix, you keep mentioning Matt's t-shirt, and I just want to point out that if you didn't say that it was a PlayStation t-shirt and it says PS I love you, that there's a large group of people who probably wouldn't have known it was a PlayStation
I know,
t-shirt.
but I want to give him shit. I wanted to give him shit. All right,
I just want to alleviate some of the shit you're giving him.
Look, Crash, this podcast, I don't know how it's even still going. It literally it serves for me. That's what happens, all right? That's what this is. It serves for me. You guys just get to listen to me rant and rave, and I invite some jabronis on each week who happen to be these two that turn up every week, all right? That's all it is, all right? That's all it is. Next question. Good question, by the way. Corey, the gaming butcher. One. Good question. Good questions. I appreciate that. Eldozo says, we speak a lot about Game Pass and the success that it brings to Xbox this generation. But over the past few weeks, another service/feature has been getting a lot of attention: smart delivery. My questions are, given that both consoles have placed their flags in the ground of the consumerism, one, how important a feature is smart delivery, given the past weeks of headlines in regards to Horizon Forbidden West, and do you think it's made a big deal enough of this feature/service? Two, for people sitting on the fence what console to get, do you think smart delivery along with Game Pass would push people to buy a cheap Xbox One while waiting for stock for current gen consoles to become more widely available? So, number one, how important a feature is smart delivery? I think I will go on record and saying I was 100% wrong about smart delivery. I've said it before, I said it on Twitter, and I'll say it again. I thought smart delivery was just marketing blah, 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 blah. I generally did. And maybe to a degree it is. Just Xbox are very good at delivering things, so we don't really think about it the way we think about it with Sony. But I generally did believe it was just, they were like, oh yeah, smart delivery, you'll get the game of the version that you want, and the game of the version on the console you want, and da-da-da-da-da. And I was just like, yeah, like it should be. And I kind of took it for granted. It's only when you see someone doing it differently, I'm not going to say wrong, I'm going to say differently.
I'll say wrong.
Differently. So, you then go, oh my god, what they are doing over there is so much better. Go on, Crash.
Yeah. So the reason you shouldn't say they're doing it wrong is because you really undervalue what Microsoft did.
Yeah, I agree.
Set Microsoft to be the norm and Sony doing bad, as opposed to Microsoft overachieving.
I agree.
Sure. Okay.
And Microsoft super overachieves in that front.
Yes.
And you sort of take away, like, the reason people don't really talk about smart delivery is because anytime smart delivery is brought up, it's brought up in comparison to Sony. It's brought either to bring Sony down or like sort of like Xbox is better because of smart delivery, not in sort of just praise of smart delivery. And this generally goes with a lot of stuff Microsoft does. Even in Game Pass, when people talk about Game Pass, a lot of times they bring it up like Sony doesn't have Game Pass, Sony da-da-da. It's like, focus on the positives of Microsoft if you want those to become defining features and not sort of just comparative points. Because
I think the reason that it is brought up in comparison so much is because it's a silent win, right? And people don't talk about it because it just works.
Yep.
And so the only way to bring it up as a thing that just works is because there's somebody where it isn't working, right? And so I think it's not talked enough about, but it's because it just works, right? It's like editing in a film, right? Like when the Oscar for best editing, you don't think about great editing in a film until you see terrible editing in a film and you go, well, this is terrible and it's ruining the film. It's the exact same thing. Like when it just works, like it does on Xbox, you don't think about it.
I think
I agree, but like you have to remember that Xbox has been doing this since the Xbox One. Like we look at the Xbox One, and we're like, the Xbox One for a large part, for a lot of people, failure of a console. But you have to remember backwards compatibility started on Xbox One, and that's just really a continuation of smart delivery. Without 100%. that backwards compatibility, and I remember when that happened, Sony had put out a comment and like, that is like genius hardware work. Like to make it work like that is incredibly difficult and make it work as well as it does. That like sort of coming now and looking at smart delivery and just sort of looking at it as this small feature and being like, why can't Sony just implement that? It's really undervalues what smart delivery is.
Sure. Yeah,
I mean, 100%. I remember when I got sent the Series X, and Crash will remember as well because we was all doing work around it. And I remember you saying like, "Oh, how is it?" And I spoke about it on the podcast where I was like, "It didn't have a killer app, right? That was the big thing." And I'd probably argue even still to this day, it still hasn't got the game which we're waiting for because Halo should be this year, right? But the things that I think especially me as a reviewer at that time for that console, right? I took for granted smart delivery. What's the other thing that's part of it now? The quick resume, quick resume, smart delivery, extra storage. We took all of that for granted because we just assumed as consumers that we should just have that. We deserve that. Until somebody does it differently, Nintendo, Sony, there's other companies out there that haven't got it as well. Like, it just works should be the tagline for the Series X.
Yeah.
Series consoles, not X, Series all over.
Even just Xbox. Because xCloud gaming and all, it just works. It just works.
I think one big thing to point out, at least with smart delivery, is like you had EA putting out really mixed messages with it, and there was a lot of like mixed messaging that Microsoft didn't really go out of their way to fix and correct. Sure. But part of it is also like, how do you correct smart delivery and explain what it really is until someone experiences it?
Until you have to download your save from your PS4 to upload it to the cloud to then buy a Final Fantasy and then and then buy Final Fantasy and then you download the wrong version of Final Fantasy because you should have downloaded the PS5 version instead of the PS4 version, and then you go, bloody hell, smart delivery is amazing.
Even last night I bought Life is Strange on my PlayStation. And it downloaded the PS4 and PS5 version on my PS5. That was the default. Yeah. It downloaded both versions. What? Yeah. What is happening? Like, how is that the default? It blows my mind.
Shocking.
Yeah,
it really is. But yeah, it's a bit of column A, a bit of column B, right? It's all of the above of which we just said, to be honest with you. Second question, for people sitting on the fence, what console to get? Do you think smart delivery, along with Game Pass, would push people to buy a cheap Xbox One? No. I don't buy a cheap Xbox One.
But I also think like people who want to get into buying Xbox at this point, like have major FOMO, they're not going to settle for an Xbox One. Because for most people, like, if they wanted an Xbox One, there would have been one on sale at some point where they would have been able to get it at this point. Yeah. And Series S's are becoming more readily available, where I could see people who are like, I was really waiting for the Series X and I couldn't get my hand on one. I'm going to settle for a Series S, knowing that those games will still like carry forward whenever I can get my hands on a Series X.
Also, if you're looking for something to tide you over, and I'm aware that I'm in a privileged position with internet and stuff like that, but like xCloud works. It's so good. Like I want to encourage more people to try it because I think people have heard latency's terrible, this, that, the other. I need better internet than I've got. Just try it. Seriously, try it.
Fair enough. We'll do one more question before we move on. This is from Top Left, who says, "Hi guys, hope you're well. My question is, how did Xbox let PlayStation take a game that was originally an Xbox exclusive when it was first launched and not locked down exclusively for the the Knights of the Old Republic remake, and allow Sony to get a win over them, even if it is timed exclusive?" Number one, this is such a stupid. I love you, Top Left. You tweet at me all the time. We talk, blah blah blah. This is a stupid way to word things because Xbox didn't let anybody do anything. This is business.
Yeah.
This came down to business, which means money, which means whatever it may be. Xbox already have the best RPGs.
Yeah.
In the world, especially on their consoles Western at the RPGs moment. Western. I am specifically speaking about Western, and I'm not saying this isn't going to be amazing. I'm not saying that Xbox didn't want it, but if Sony were we've already heard that Sony were offering ridiculous amounts of money for timed exclusives. We know full well Phil Spencer has come out and said he doesn't like timed exclusives. He doesn't think they're good for the industry. He doesn't like them, which is easy to say when you're in the loser's position. Let's be totally honest.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with. I see it online as well, and I'm not taking it out on you, Top Left. But what I'm trying to say here is, when people come out with this narrative of like, oh, Sony got one over on, it's like, no, it's business. No one got one over on. It's not like someone went behind their back. I guarantee Xbox knew about this. I guarantee there was a conversation with Xbox. I guarantee the money went down on the table, and Xbox were like, no, we're not paying that. And Sony were like, hell yeah, we're paying that.
I also think there's one thing that people have to remember is that like Xbox's main focus is Game Pass now. And if you get a game, like for Xbox, if they wanted this, like for anything, they probably would have been like, we want it on Game Pass day one. And the problem with that, especially when it's a licensed game like Star Wars, is those games generally get royalty. And how does that work with a Game Pass deal when it being on your platform like that isn't based off sales? And that's something we haven't really seen too much. We'll see with Indiana Jones. That's the first game coming out of Bethesda that is a licensed game. Will that be on Game Pass day one? You'd assume it would be, right? It's an Xbox title, but like, how will that back end work? And will we continue to see stuff like that on
they
Game
just pay
Pass?
the license?
How successful will those be?
Yeah, they buy out
royalties. Royalties are huge. No, I understand. I'm just saying it is.
No, it's a very
100%.
There's a conversation that needs to happen and work out, and I'm sure we will start to see like more of this happens. But until it becomes like a regular with Game Pass, I assume we won't see too many licensed stuff coming to Game Pass like that.
Yeah,
I think the surprising thing about this, and maybe where Toplift is coming from with the how did Sony let them get a win over them, or how did Xbox let this happen, is that there's no conceivable way that Xbox couldn't have outbid Sony, right? That Microsoft couldn't have outbid Sony. They have the money. They have the money in the bank. It's just a strategy decision and a business decision. So there is an element of Xbox letting it happen, right?
No, because like Xbox's focus isn't on buying timed exclusives. It's on buying companies.
It's a strategy decision, 100%. Yeah. What I'm saying is,
like,
if they wanted to outbid them, they could have. You'd think.
I put budgets towards this sort of stuff and like what they expect to get back out of it. Like I get what you're saying. I just don't like the word. I like, you're not technically wrong. I just really don't like the wording. Let them have it, because I feel like it undersells like everything that goes into these sort of decisions.
I agree.
I think it's the wording of how did Xbox let PlayStation take a game that was originally an Xbox exclusive? Yeah. That game was exclusive. That game, still is. Still is exclusive on the original Xbox. Like, this isn't the same game. It's a remake of a game. The thing I don't get is like, I don't understand the narrative of it. Is where I'm coming from with it more. It's a case of like, Xbox. I understand the premise of the question. I don't like the wording of the question, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which is like, how did, I guess, and then maybe that's me, maybe I'm wrong for how I word things all the time, so I definitely get that. To me, it's just a case of, it just came down to business. Xbox, yes, this is, on the outside looking in, this looks like a huge deal, but from an Xbox point of view, I don't think it is. I generally don't. Would they have loved it on their console? Yes. Are people going to be upset about it not being their day one? Yes. Just like we're going to be upset that Insomniac can make... Did Xbox let Insomniac make Wolverine? Did they get one over on them? No.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. Like, there's so much more that comes along with what this is and how these deals are done, and just the inner workings of our industry that none of us, even me sitting here 6 years, 7 years in, however long I've been doing this now, right? Like, we don't know how this stuff goes down, but I know one thing for sure. It wasn't a case of, oh, we'll let you have this one. It was a case of like, this is how, like Chris said, this isn't our budget. This is what we can afford to pay you. This is what we think this is worth for a year, for the years or whatever it is, for the non-competing or whatever the case may be. And then they went, no, Sony are offering us double. And Microsoft went, okay, well, you've got to go there then. Like, but think about it. Think about it. Bethesda have 2 exclusive games on PlayStation and are now owned by Xbox.
Yeah.
Microsoft, I should say. Apologies.
Yeah.
Microsoft and Bethesda have always had a fantastic inner working of a relationship. They could have got those games as exclusive. It's not what they do.
Yeah.
And I think you are right. I think potentially as sort of the top 1% of gamers that care about this sort of stuff, being on podcasts and listening to podcasts about this, we care a lot more about Knights of the Old Republic than anybody else does.
Yeah.
And I don't think I think you're right. Like, it's such an old game at this point. There's a lot of people really excited about this. I'm really excited about this. The mainstream ain't. Like,
not yet. I think they will be.
They know it's a Star Wars. They know it's a Star Wars thing, and
I think they will be
excited, maybe. But
they're excited that it's Star Wars. Yeah,
exactly. Way more excited that it's Star Wars than it is Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, 100%.
You have to look at it from like a bigger scale of like, this is at the end of the day, this is an RPG. This is a Western RPG, and Microsoft has so many of those under their belt from both Bethesda and why is Obsidian? Bethesda and Obsidian being in development, that like realistically that they look at this and they're like, we could outbid for this. We could if we really, really wanted to, but it doesn't make sense for us because then we're just getting something for it to compete with our own games. And that's kind of a backwards thinking.
That's you hit the nail on the head.
And if you want to play Knights of the Old Republic, you can on Xbox.
Backwards compatible. You play your old save. That's so wild.
It's not quite the same, but yeah, I get where you're coming from, lads.
Like when the Xbox One was first announced, they were like, if you want an offline console, you could get the 360. Oh, dude.
Dude.
Old Xbox.
I never need to hear that again. I never need to hear that again.
Old Xbox were wild. Let's jump into what's been in our box. We'll get through the news and we'll get out of here. We're running a little bit longer than we usually do this week. Chris, what have you been playing?
I haven't played anything this week.
Perfect.
My arm's been bugging me, so I haven't been able to. I can't really hold the controller right now. Like I can hold it, but it hurts me. Yeah. So I haven't really been playing anything. So
get your X-ray, man.
Yeah,
but it's going to cost them a house. It's going to cost them a mortgage to do it.
Yeah. Good luck, mate.
Matt P, what have you been playing?
I got an extra kidney.
After the fantastic showing at Gamescom, we talked about it a little bit, and I said I would jump into Wasteland 3, and I have indeed jumped into Wasteland 3. Playing it the way I'm sure the devs intended, streaming it through xCloud onto my phone, iPad, and or laptop, depending on where I am in the apartment. Word of warning: don't play it on your phone. It's a turn-based strategy game. Don't play it on your phone. Don't do it. But it's brilliant. It's awesome. Like the writing and characters and story are as good as any Fallout game. Tonally, very similar to Fallout, like kind of goofy post-apocalyptic vibes. It's awesome. It's bloody brilliant. The kind of combat, I would say, isn't quite like XCOM level. Your party's quite big. I often forget which characters are good at which things and mess up turns of combat like that. Like I said, your party's quite big, and so combat takes quite a while. One thing that annoys me is like if I don't get the first turn in, like if the enemy gets the jump on me, I feel like it's game over before it's even started, which I don't love. But I really enjoy this game way more than I thought I would, and I'm going to keep putting hours into it.
You're playing it solo, correct?
I am.
I played it in co-op. I really enjoyed it co-op. I don't know if it's like feasible for you to play it in co-op with somebody, but I think it actually works really well in co-op for the type of game it is.
I like that idea. I'm curious how that works with your characters. You start the game by picking a pair of characters. And so does one of you take over one and one takes over the other?
Yes. And you guys like customize it, choose whatever it is. Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe I would be into that. I don't know.
Wait, one more interesting. If you're going to say two interesting, you say three on this podcast.
Interesting.
Hardcore fans will understand that. You newbies won't get that. You newbies won't understand that reference, let me tell you. What else have you been playing?
Still play Psychonauts 2, and I've jumped back into Avengers to play some of the Black Panther DLC after Crash reminded me that it was a thing.
Yep, it is a thing, yeah.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
It is a thing.
It's, I don't know if I'll get through it, to be honest with you. The story is
kind of dull, right?
It's dull.
The story doesn't really hit. It's sort of like whatever, unfortunately. Yeah. I don't actually think we have the story here today, but they announced the raid.
Oh, they're doing the raid. They announced their map. Yeah.
Does that like make you want to jump in at all? No.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm kind of I like after playing this content and seeing like the way because this was supposed to be like the next step in the evolution, and there should have been like changes in like core designs in the way they did Wakanda, and there isn't any, and it's just the same. That to me, when I play, I imagine a raid will just be a bigger sector, and I don't want that. I don't care if it's like 4 unique bosses in there, but it essentially works like a sector. That's incredibly boring to me because like the main flow of the game just doesn't work, in my opinion.
The only reason I'd go back to Marvel's Avengers is strictly for a streaming purpose, because right now the category is so dead that you could probably build up an audience. That is the only reason why. That is the only reason why I'd go back. Especially
with the raid coming out, you could help people like gear up and get ready for raids and stuff like that. You know?
Getting people raid ready, join my party, and yeah, it'd be simple. But no interest. I've been playing a little game called NBA 2K22. Ooh. It came out today. I've had it for 2 days. I got it yesterday. It's very broken on Xbox.
Oh dear.
I'm sorry to say, on the series consoles, by the way, code provided by 2K. Yeah, it's very broken on Series X right now. If I had a bug that I had over 150 friends on my friends list, and I didn't know this was the bug, but I would log into the game, and every time I'd log into the game, it would just loop me. I got past a certain part in the career mode, and I'd log in, an announcer would say a certain thing, a menu would pop up, it would go, kick me back to the dashboard. And I did that all night, and I was trying to make content, so I couldn't make content that day that I had it. I let the dev team know and stuff, but I was just like, oh no, this doesn't bode well. And then I found out on Twitter this morning that if I deleted a bunch of my friends on my friends list, it would fix it, and it did. Which was amazing.
What is that then? It's pinging like a leaderboard somewhere and freaking
out.
Probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
That fixed it for me. So if you have more than 150 friends, unfortunately, delete some if you are playing NBA on the series consoles. But yeah, that obviously didn't start off too well. I did play today, played it for 6 hours today. So more like a first impressions than a review, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. It feels good. It feels good. It looks good. The mechanic changes that they've made to the shot meter is different enough that it makes it more fun. It's a fun basketball game to play, I have to say. Like, there are parts of the game that I really dislike, which is what we have come to expect from 2K, unfortunately, when it comes to microtransactions. I don't like the fact that you have all these slots open for different builds, and you'll get 100k with my edition that I got sent again for review. I got 100k worth of VC points, which is how you build your character up. And I used them on my first build, and I'm now not happy with that build anymore. I don't like how it feels, which, don't get me wrong, they do give you an option to test the build out at different levels. Very, very in-depth. You can sit there and test out that build before you put a penny into it to know that you want that. But realistically, how many people are really doing that? Not the hardcore, yes. But your everyday MC Fixer just wants to play a basketball game and then run around with his friends online. I haven't got time to sit there and really, really nitty gritty get into it like that. So I've jumped into my first one. I've got a shot shooter. It's not working out for me. But I've already put all my money into that character.
You know, I was watching you play this on stream, and I don't necessarily think it's your fault. Your teammates all you were playing with one guy who clearly not a sharpshooter, shouldn't be shooting from the 3 at all. Just every time he grabs somebody in his face, he's just trying to shoot it. And it's like, honestly, it's very much so also your teammates' faults when I'm watching that. It's like, you have a role that you're supposed to be playing, but the problem is everybody wants to be LeBron, everyone wants to be Kobe, so everybody's trying to play that 3-pointer. They want to be Curry, whoever it is. Yeah, it's like it's a team game.
I've got centers shooting threes.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
But yeah, let me. So I've switched over to my center character, and I was playing way better. I was enjoying it way more. I'm getting those rebounds. I'm getting some shots. I'm being the person Crush is now talking about, but not on online, on career mode. I'm getting to the 3-point line. I'm popping up for a 3. And I'm like, why am I doing that? I'm the big man. Get in the paint. But yeah, so I can't go into too much detail. I like and dislike how they've done career mode this year. So career mode this year isn't just a bog standard, here is your career mode, play through that, then you jump into you're in the NBA, then the park is separate. No, it is all built in together this year. So the city is your career mode, which in one way I really like, in one way I'm really concerned, and another way I dislike. The dislike for me, first of all, is I like the narrative of sports games. People know that if they've listened to me speak. I like the story, and this doesn't let me have a coherent story of I am this character, and I've gone from this to this, and now I've made it to the NBA. It doesn't allow you to do that. It gives you a lot more leeway, where it's like, do you want to go to the G League, or do you want to go to college, or do you want to just go straight to the NBA, or do you want to be a street baller, then you just play in the city. So the story, from what I've played for 6.5 hours so far, is very start and stop, because it depends on which order you start doing things in. But the problem you have is, you want to try and get your character leveled up as quick as possible so he actually plays well. But to do that, you need to play online to get certain quests done. But also the problem you have is everyone has already put money into the game. So their characters are... My character's sitting at 76 and their character's sitting at 85.
Right.
Every single one. So, and it's just like, it becomes a little bit of that push and pull where I'm like, in the premise of what you've tried to do here, really interested, really fun, really enjoyable. But unfortunately, the pay to win aspect of this game, which it is, I don't care what, I didn't win a single game. And I was on a team with 65s and 70s while going up against 85s to 87s. Ratings, this is what I'm talking about here, by the way, people.
Can you queue with other people?
Yes.
So, do you think there's a possibility that it was 3 people queuing against like a bunch of randoms? Got it.
But that doesn't help me.
Problem as well. Yeah, no. I completely understand.
But that doesn't help me.
I'm not saying it's not pay to win. I'm just saying that's like an added layer to the system.
The problem I have with it, and again, I'm still early on, super early on, so please do not take this as like a review. It's just an opinion at the start of the game, to be totally honest with you, is... I played my college game and lost, so I crashed out of the tournament. So I didn't get all that progression points for getting all the way to the final and winning and becoming the megastar. Then I went in the park and just got tranced. And I'm like, all right, maybe I'll go to the G League. And then it's like, oh, well, do I want to do that? Because I might as well just go straight to the NBA and be a second round pick. It just, the way they've done it, if it was just a single player of like, you have the city, and it's open city, and you can still see people and stuff, but it's like, here is your narrative of like, go from here to, you want to be a music star, and you want to be a YouTuber, and that's the premise of the character. And then that needs to all just be laid out and there for you, I think, in the career, and you can just go boom, 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 and do it. But right now, it doesn't quite feel like that. It's like, all this information thrown at you at once. And it's like, here are your dailies, here's your weeklies, here's how you become a legend, here's the free battle pass, and then it's like, I just want to play basketball. How do I just play basketball in my career with my character that I've built? And yeah, it just becomes a little bit overwhelming for the everyday person, I believe, because that's what I consider myself. I'm not a hardcore 2K guy. I play it more than most, I would say. But I don't play it to the level of like the pro level or like the best build. I'm a 2-way shooter and I'm hitting threes. I know how to do it all. That's just not me.
You don't play to the point where you're like a 2K player.
No.
You know?
And that's what these people are. They are people that are playing it right now. They are 2K players and they are killing it. So, yes, that's kind of my...
So do you not think then when it opens up to the general public and random people are in there...
Well, it did today.
Okay, and you were still having these issues?
Getting them on his team.
Yeah, I was getting the randoms on my team while going up against...
Is, like, anybody who's good probably has like a squad of people that they play with.
Yeah.
It's like you always, like, whenever you hear somebody talking about NBA 2K, it's always they play against someone. And they're either talking about like, I play with somebody or I play against somebody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So it's like, if you're going to queue up the first day, it's like you're definitely going to have people to play with.
So,
I'm with you.
Yeah, that's my experience with it so far. I will check in again next week and let you know if I've become LeBron James. But yeah, until then, that is my thoughts. You're not LeBron. You're not a Batman. I put that TikTok up the other day. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was so funny.
And I played more Apex Legends. I got carried by the one and only Danone. Oh my god, I can't believe how good he is. Like,
we've talked about this so many times.
No. I understand that, dude, but he carried me from, I think it was bronze to gold. No, that's a lie. I got to gold on my own.
Silver.
He got me to silver. I got myself to gold, yeah? But it's not that he's carrying me. It's like he's ending the game with 14, 15 kills, and I'm ending the game with 3. He's in the game with 2,000 damage. I'm in the game with 200 damage. Like, it's that ridiculous. And I'm like, wow. But I'm enjoying my time with it. I'm doing something specifically around Apex, hence why I've had to play it some more as of lately. But yeah, it's been a good time. But yeah, I've been getting killed. Anything else to add, lads? Sorry, go on.
I just want to say you've gotten better. Like, I saw you movement. You were running away from 3 dudes like nobody's business. They could not catch you.
They couldn't catch me.
Sliding, opening doors, running to your teammates, then your teammates abandoning you and letting you die. That's beside the point.
That's not my fault, though. I can't do anything about that, I can't do anything. See, moral of the story, everyone.
It's not fixed, it's the randoms.
It's the randoms. It's always the randoms. Let's get into this week's dashboard really fast because we are going super long on this week's episode. Matt P's probably thinking, bro, I got dinner. Like, what the hell's going on here?
All right, I'm chill.
First news story, Xbox One controllers are now getting next-gen features thanks to the new firmware. This is written by Jared Moore over at IGN. Microsoft is testing a new firmware update for Bluetooth-enabled Xbox controllers and the Xbox Elite 2 and the Xbox Adaptive Controller that will grant them a range of new next-gen features previously only on the Series X/X controllers. Microsoft announced that it has begun testing the new firmware in its blog post on the website. The firmware update, which is available to the alpha skip ahead people, so me, aims to reduce controller latency and improve cross-device connectivity. Nice little feature, to be honest with you. It's one of those ones where I'm sure you won't notice it. I'm sure it won't be made a big deal, but now if you have an older controller, you can get the same experience with that controller on any system that you choose to have it on. And it's little things like that Xbox are really good about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Next
up, big one for the Halo fans. Next Halo Infinite multiplayer previews are set for September 24th. The next Halo Infinite multiplayer previews kick off September 24th. Developers 343 announced. All fully registered Halo Insider profiles as of the 13th of September. You've got 3 more days. Are eligible to participate. Who's playing? Chris, you in?
Of course.
Matt, you in?
100%. They announced it was going to be big team battles this time, didn't they? So
it's big team battles, and then as far as I'm aware, the old modes are still going to be there, so you can play the normal multiplayer. Yeah, which is big team battles, whatever.
I'm all in.
I'm not playing it. So
what?
I'm
well, how are you not playing it?
What do you mean? I'm busy, bro.
How are you not
busy?
This is an Xbox podcast, and you're not going to play Halo?
That's why you two are playing it, and you can talk about it. It's not my fixer and me.
You want to know what? I would normally let you get away with this because you're not the biggest Halo, but you were giving Matt a whole bunch of trouble for his shirt.
Chip.
That's a good point.
And now there's an Xbox exclusive supposed to be the next big Xbox game, and you're like, yeah, nah, I'm not going to play it.
No, I'm not playing the test servers. I'm gonna play it when it comes out.
I understand, but like,
we will need to look into whether or not we can stream it, and if we can, we'll need to get Fixer to give us the keys finally, so that we can stream it on the My Xbox Me channel without him.
You act like it's all me.
We're waiting on you to give us the keys, mate.
I have access to the account.
Chris has access to the account.
I'm waiting on the keys then. I'm waiting on the keys.
It's not me. It's not just me. You got to work on thumbnails. You got to get the thumbnails ready. That's the problem.
We also have to convince Fix to play as well.
100%. Tweet at Fix.
Tweet, please. YouTube comments, Discord, tweet at Fix.
Absolutely not.
Just play Halo with the boys.
Play Halo.
I'm not playing Halo with the boys. No.
Play Halo with the boys or dinner date with Crash. That's what I want to see everybody message Fix.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Next piece of news. Following the Horizon Forbidden West controversy, Ubisoft reiterates that Far Cry 6 is getting a free upgrade on next-gen consoles. Nice of Ubisoft to just let people know this on top of the other news. They've actually fixed the Forbidden West stuff, just so people are aware. I don't want people to think that we're not on top of that or know that information. We do. But yeah, Far Cry 6 is getting a free upgrade on next gen. So shout out to Ubisoft for that. And the last piece of news, which is a big piece of news. And the fact that it is big, it's big, real big. Guys, Football Manager...
The guy who said he's not playing Halo. Not playing Halo.
Football Manager 2022 launching day 1 in Game Pass. Crash.
Wow.
You can play the new Football Manager with me day 1.
Do they have online for Football Manager? Yeah.
Yeah, we could do an online save. Me and you, my Xbox and me channel, you managing Arsenal, me managing Tottenham, you not know a goddamn thing. I convince you to put all your players on the left-hand side. I put all my players on the right-hand side. I beat you 10-0, and everyone goes home happy.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be happy.
I would. I'd be really happy.
Here's the deal.
I'd be really happy.
Here's the deal. We'll play Football Manager with you.
No.
If you play Halo with the boys.
I'll play Football Manager on my own.
Fixed. What if I give you another deal that might sweeten the pot a bit more for you, right?
Ooh, okay.
FIFA comes out.
No,
like
Crash. No, Crash. I don't care about you on Pro Clubs. Nope.
No?
If you want to come play Pro Clubs, you come play Pro Clubs with the boys. You don't wanna? No problem. I'm not getting blackmailed. I'm not getting blackmailed in this. No way.
That's not blackmail. That's not black. It's trade.
I don't like trades. I'm not about trades.
You play FIFA Manager. You're about trades. Don't even say
Football
that.
Manager, not FIFA. God damn it. You got it wrong.
Same difference.
Let's plug and get ourselves out of here. I'm not dealing with you anymore. Matt P, where can the people find you and what have you been working on?
What have I been? I've not a whole lot, to be honest with you. Yeah. Oh, no, I've made a couple of TikToks for last week's episode that I was on and not last week's episode that I wasn't on. So follow my Xbox and me on TikTok. Tweet
to only see Matt.
If I'm not in it, I'm not doing them. I was sick. I was sick.
You have a fair reason.
Yeah. And then you can find me on Twitter at MattPVideo. Tweet at my Xbox and me. Oh no, that's still down, isn't it? Tweet at MCFixer. Hashtag Halo with the boys. Hashtag Halo with the boys.
Fix, have you figured that out yet?
Chris, damn it. I was hoping you would ask. You have... Look, let's make one thing very clear. That's not true. Yeah. So, what happened?
What's not true?
Chris. No, what happened was... So, you remember I said that I put in to get the Twitter account back?
Yeah.
I did. No.
Okay.
How dare you?
I did. Crash, my instinct was that you lied about it as well.
Up. I thought you... No, I didn't think you lied about it. I thought you just messed up. I thought if you're getting old there in age, I thought you just filled out the form wrong. And instead of like an appeal, it was a banned form. Yeah.
So, I did that. They sent me an email. Yeah. I didn't see the email. The email said, we just need to confirm that this is the email and you'll get the account back. I missed the email. I saw it late. I clicked it. They then responded saying, you need to put in a new receipt form. You know what I did? I closed the tab and was like, no way. That's too much work for right now. So I haven't put a new one in. Not yet.
Wow.
Not yet.
Wow.
I should probably fix that, shouldn't I?
You should. If you think about it, if you want to. Just up to you.
Okay,
for now,
I'll do it.
Just tweet us at MCFixer, at MattPVideo, at CrashNickPlays, hashtag Halo with the boys.
I just want one out fix.
Don't do hashtag Halo with the boys. No, I'm not playing
Dinner day with Crush. Halo with the boys or dinner day with Crush. I like this.
Absolutely
it's a good idea.
Crush, what have you got to plug?
So there's a YouTube page that you guys should all, if you're listening to this and you do not subscribe to the My Xbox Me YouTube page.
Really 2-hour show.
We talked about it earlier. Yeah, it's a long show. And if you stuck around to now and you don't go and subscribe to the YouTube page because you clearly like to listen to us talk at this point.
Facts.
Maybe you should see what faces go along with the voices. And then if you regret it, you can pretend you never did it.
Yeah, exactly. You won't be impressed.
If you do subscribe and you hit that bell, then when hashtag Halo with the boys goes live, you'll get notified about it. And then you'll be in the chat.
Yeah, that's a good Halo
and you'll be able to
see
Halo with the boys. Now, how many boys will be on that stream?
Really depends.
Yet to be confirmed.
On one MC Fixer.
If we hit...
Oh my god.
If we hit... Let me check what the YouTube channel's on right now.
Oh my god.
If we can get 1,500 subs by the time Halo with the Boys is meant to happen, I will play. We are currently sitting at 1,447. No way it's going to happen, but do your best in that.
14 days, 2 weeks.
That's not bad.
2 weeks is doable.
That's not bad.
If you're listening to this, and for no other reason other than to annoy Fix, go and subscribe to that YouTube page and leave a comment on the latest video that says nothing but Halo with the boys. That's all I want to see.
If I see this week's episode and all it says is Halo with the boys, someone's getting fired. I swear, somebody's getting fired. It's probably going to be Matt. I've got to be honest. It's probably going to be Matt. You can find me everywhere at MC Fixer. Like I said before, I was just on the front page of Twitch today. So please do go and hit the follow button over on my Twitch channel. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. If you really want to help me out, go subscribe to my main channel. And the reason I say that is because every time I upload, I keep losing subs. So I need people that actually care about me and the content because we keep losing subscribers. We went from 4,546 to sales. We lost like 20 subs in the last week, and it's very damaging for my ego. So help my ego out, please. I would appreciate it. And yeah, until next time, we will love you. I'll leave you and see you all later. Shout out to Emma. Do you reckon she makes it to the end of the episodes?
Lemon Emma.
Emma. Lemon?
Should we rebrand the Potato Squad to the Lemon Squad?
No.
In honor of Emma Lemon?
No.